Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode number 79 of Preston Jensen's podcast. If you're new here, I'm your host, Preston. Tonight, I've got a very special guest. I want to dive right into the episode. I don't want to take up too much time, but my guest has caught 11,659 MLB baseballs. He is an author and a very successful YouTuber. Without further ado, my guest tonight is Zack Hample. Zack, thank you for being on the show, and tell us a little bit about yourself for those of my listeners who haven't heard of you.
Well, Preston, first of all, thanks for having me on. We've been trying to connect for a while, so thanks for bearing with me in my crazy schedule. But yeah, I have little business cards made up for myself, little like contact cards, and the title under my name says Professional Baseball Nerd. So I think that's kind of like the umbrella category of what I do. But yeah, I'm a full-time YouTuber. I've written a few baseball books. Everything that I do now as far as making money is through the world of baseball, but I don't work for Major League Baseball. I just do my own thing, but I've found a way to piece it all together, and it's a fun and weird way to make a living. I can tell you that.
Well, most people probably know you about catching foul balls. You're the foul ball guy. Some of your most famous balls caught is Mike Trout's very first home run and Alex Rodriguez's 3,000th hit. Tell us what went into that, because it's not just luck. I've heard you talk about it before. It's not luck. What goes into catching historic baseballs like that?
Well, first of all, I'm known as foul ball guy, but the most famous balls I've caught are not foul balls. Go figure. I keep trying to lobby for my nickname to be changed to home run guy, but as long as people know who I am, I'm very honored about that. There's definitely some luck involved. One of my favorite quotes is from Branch Rickey, the longtime, old-time Brooklyn Dodgers executive, who said that luck is the residue of design. So I'm not going to sit here and claim that, oh, there's no luck involved. It's all skill, and I know exactly where they're going, and I'm the best. It's not like that at all. If I put myself in the right spot in the outfield, a good spot, I'm sitting next to the stairs so I can jump out of my seat, or sitting in an empty row, or hiding out in the tunnel in between pitches and trying to avoid stadium security seeing me if they're being strict, or looking for the standing room sections. But the point is, like, I'm always in a good spot, not trapped in the middle of a long row, and not sitting 500 feet away, not sitting right behind the protective netting. I feel like luck will swing in my favor every so often. And I go to so many games that it's just impossible for me to go a whole season without catching a home run. Sometimes I'll go a month or two without catching one, and that can be dozens of games. And I get extremely frustrated. But no one really notices that, because they only really notice me when I do catch one. And then everybody's like, oh my God, there's that guy again. He always catches one. But they didn't notice that the last 20 games I went to, it was actually pretty quiet for me. So I have some big moments with a lot of dry spells thrown in, but somehow I keep getting chances every so often for these big moments, and I'm very thankful for that.
So you are a lot more excited, it sounds like, to catch home run balls. You get balls thrown up from the major league players, you catch foul balls, you get balls in batting practice, but do you value the home run ball over everything else?
Definitely. Now, I do also value commemorative baseballs a whole lot. And if there's a stadium, let's say, that's in its first season, or the last season before it closes down, the home team will use a commemorative ball for their games. Or if a certain player's number's being retired, that player's maybe being inducted into that team's Hall of Fame, there'll be a commemorative ball for that guy. All-star games, home run derbies, postseason, World Series, all these different events have commemorative baseballs. Major League Baseball used to do commemorative balls for Mother's Day with pink stitching and a little pink ribbon on the sweet spot, or not the sweet spot, but below the center panel. Unfortunately, they discontinued that, but I love commemorative baseballs so much. And when there is one being used, sometimes I will give up my standard favorite mission, which is to catch a home run, in order to hang out closer to the dugouts, closer to home plate. I might instead choose to focus on getting a toss up from the players or the coaches or the home plate umpire when he's walking off the field after the game. He might reach into his pouch and hand out a couple of baseballs. So if I can increase my chances to get one because there's a special logo, I'll do that. Because realistically, I'm going to catch a home run at best about once every 10 games, which is still pretty good. But if there's one game and I really need to get that commemorative ball, I'm going to hang out and try to get toss ups and foul balls because the odds definitely increase when you're sitting closer to the plate.
And I really appreciate the extent you go to get foul balls, because it seems like you've got different strategies. I've seen that glove trick you do with the Sharpie. You've learned different languages to ask for foul balls. Take us through some of a little bit of your mindset on all the things you do to get these balls.
Sure. So I'm going to take you way back to when I was 14 years old. I'm a native New Yorker, grew up in New York. I was a Mets fan as a kid. At this point, I don't have a favorite team. That's why I'm always rocking the generic MLB/umpire hat. But I remember running into Shea Stadium for batting practice, ran out to right field. There was like nobody out there. It was very empty right when the stadium opened. I was proudly wearing my Mets jacket, and I called out to David Justice. If anybody remembers that name, he was playing right field for the Braves. He was out there shagging BP balls in the outfield. The batter had just hit a ball that rolled out to him. And I'm the only fan in the stadium, basically. I call out, "Hey, David, throw me the ball." He turns to throw it to me and then stops mid-motion and says, he yells out at me, "I'm not going to throw you a ball if you're wearing a Mets jacket." And 14-year-old me was like, oh my God, I am so dumb. Of course, why would he? It's basically like, "Hi, I hate you and your team, but please give me something for free." So the next day, I took off my Mets jacket before I ran out to right field. And then I asked him for a ball. He didn't remember me and he threw it to me. So that was like the first real aha moment that I had, where I realized that I could be strategic, a little sneaky, try to get inside the players' heads. And if I really thought about what would make them throw me a ball or make them not want to throw me a ball, I could dress better. I could learn to ask foreign players in their native languages for baseballs. And there's all kinds of other strategies that I've developed over the years. So that's really how it started. And you mentioned the glove trick. That's a device that I invented around that same time when I was 14 or 15 as a way to pick up baseballs that were sitting below me, either on the field or maybe in the bullpen or behind the outfield wall if there was some dead space, like where the groundskeepers were keeping their tools. And let's say a batting practice home run landed there. Well, who's going to get it? I had a way to lower my glove on a string, and I had the inside of the glove rigged up where it would drop over the ball and pick it back up. And anybody who's listening to this right now or watching this, if you go on YouTube and search my name and add the words glove trick to your search, you will find a tutorial video that I did a few years ago explaining how I set it up and how it works. So again, just one of the many tricks that I've used over the years to add to my baseball total.
I actually used one of these tricks this year. I saw you go into Target Field and look through the planters, and I thought, hey, that's a great idea. I wanted to get in early. I looked through the planters. Unfortunately, there was no balls there for me to pick up, but it's a brilliant idea. You got to think outside the box sometimes when you're tracking these down. Do you
I'm glad
study?
you gave it a shot. Sorry,
I gave it a shot. Yeah. Yep. Well, maybe next time though. It's always something worthwhile to do.
The idea is that you can't just go to a game for the first time or try a certain strategy for the first time and expect that it will work. But if you go to enough games and enough stadiums and you are being thoughtful and strategic and always trying to think, what would make the player want to give me a ball? How can I stand out above other fans, whether it's by dressing better, wearing certain gear, learning the languages, positioning yourself better in the seats, being taller, more athletic, whatever it is. If you're always thinking about how to stand out and you go often enough, you will see lots of opportunities come your way. So that's basically how I approach it.
So Do you study flowcharts at all? Or I know there's got to be a little bit that goes into where you're standing and when you're standing there. Take us through a typical day of a game day through Zack Hample's eyes.
I used to look at charts 5, 10 years ago. There was a website now defunct, makes me very sad. It was called Hit Tracker, then it was called Home Run Tracker, then it was bought out by ESPN and it was called ESPN Home Run Tracker. And I think if you go to the Wayback Machine, whatever that internet archive is, you can still find some of those pages and charts, which wouldn't be as helpful, if there's new guys coming up and you're trying to figure out where they hit balls. But they had scatter plots and stadium diagrams, and it was really cool, especially for someone like me who's a big numbers guy. I'm a visual person. I like to quantify things, and I love the data. But at this point, I really don't look at that stuff. Maybe if I'm specifically targeting a player who's sitting on a potential milestone home run, I will try to look at their chart and see where they hit. I went to Detroit this past season when Miguel Cabrera had 499 career home runs. So, yeah, I looked at his chart and it told me what I knew anyway. Like, he's just hitting everything to the opposite field. So I was positioned in right field, even though he's a right handed batter. And he hit one kind of close that I think the outfielder caught on the warning track, not directly in front of me, but I didn't need a chart to tell me that because I've seen Miggy play for the last 15 years, and I know what he's going to do. But typical game day, I try to eat as much as possible before I leave for the stadium. I burn a lot of calories running around at games, and stadium food is not that healthy and it's very expensive. Of course, I'm doing a video for YouTube, which is actually most of the time. Sometimes I want to save my appetite and get some big, dumb concession item and then eat that on camera. But even so, I'm still probably going to eat a lot beforehand. Stadiums used to allow backpacks. Now I think only Yankee Stadium allows backpacks, but I used to put a lot of stuff in my bag. I have a whole video on my channel, I think titled What's in My Bag. And I still bring some of that stuff, but it's hard to carry with no backpack. So there's, just hats of both teams, home and away, sometimes a t-shirt or jersey of the visiting team, baseball glove, protein bars, pens, Sharpies, materials for the glove trick. I have a new device that I call the cup trick, which is a little bit easier to use. And just, mobile chargers from my phone, sometimes batteries, GoPro, an extra microphone, SD card for my videographer, wallet, keys. I mean, there's just so much stuff that I bring. So to not be able to have a backpack drives me crazy. Get to the stadium really early, often an hour or more before the gates even open. I'll film an intro for the video, get online so I can be the first one to run in. And then, it's go time, baby. My favorite part of the day is batting practice, just running around catching balls, doing my thing with my videographer. I'd say probably an average of 100 people a day at stadiums recognize me and come up to me. So that's always a big part of my day. Find some food after BP, wander the stadium, do some filming, check out the players for pregame warm-up, sometimes try to get a baseball from them, maybe an autograph, and then find the best spot for the game, whether it's going for a home run or foul balls, give scoreboard updates, maybe wander the stadium more. I mean, it's just like it's constantly being on for 5 to 6 hours at minimum, dealing with the videographer, worrying about stadium security, nagging us for something, making sure the wind guard doesn't fall off his microphone, dealing with people all day that want to talk to me, which is fun, but sometimes it can be challenging. If it's like, if I'm starving and I have to pee and I have 15 minutes between batting practice and when the starting pitcher is going to come out and I have so much to do, but there's like 20 people waiting to talk to me. It's like, oh man, how am I going to fit this all in and navigate it? So it is so hectic. I'm often doing this on 2 hours of sleep. If I'm out on an 8-day road trip and I'm going to 7 games at 5 different stadiums, it can practically be going to a different city every day. And, I don't mean to complain at all. I love it. It's amazing that I get to do this for a living, but it is pretty hectic. It's exhausting. I edited most of my own videos this past season, probably spending an average of 8 hours per video. And it's like, if I'm on the road, not getting sleep and going to games every day and driving, waking up, flying, it's like, when do these videos get done? So the off season, oh, that's my time to relax. It's my favorite time of year. No baseball, no obligations. So yeah, just in off season mode, kicking it right now, but still making plans. There's some big things in the works for next season already. So it's really like a 12-month thing for me.
Have you ever got the opportunity to just take a game to relax, just sit in a seat and just enjoy? Or when you're there, are you constantly thinking, oh, I've got to get the next baseball, I've got to sign autographs, I've got to make a video? Have you ever had a chance to relax?
I started bringing a disguise with me to stadiums a few years ago, and I don't want to describe what that disguise is
Right.
because then people start looking for that. But just if I want to walk through the concourse and get from point A to point B and not get stopped 20 times. I mean, I'm sure that there are people out there that are like, "Oh, please, like no one knows who you are, like you're exaggerating." When I'm at a stadium, it's insanity. When I'm not at a stadium, I'm a nobody and nobody cares. I get recognized every now and then, but it's like it's just it's like I live two lives and it's really bonkers for me at stadiums. So yeah, my way of trying to relax is sort of going incognito. This whole face mask thing, which, no one really wants to wear a face mask, but
Hmm.
one of the advantages at major league stadiums, if I put one on, that does make it a little tougher for people to spot me. But I am always happy and I am honored when people want to come and say, hey. I do go to some games and I don't film. Usually, if that happens, it's going to be at Yankee Stadium because I have a season ticket there. And if I'm going to 40 Yankee games in a year, I don't need to do 40 Yankee Stadium videos. That place is not that fun. I don't need to keep filming there every day. Now, 40 Camden Yards videos or 40 Fenway Park videos in a season would be cool, but no, Yankee Stadium gets old fast. So, yeah, a lot of the time I just go there, I sit in my seat, no videographer, not filming. Um, and yeah, for me, that's relaxing. Now, of course, I have my glove. I'm still on the edge of my seat all the time and, get frustrated if one comes near me and I don't catch it. And and there'll still be lots of people coming up to me, which is great. But that's about as close as I come to just relaxing. I'm not going to go sit in the upper deck with no glove and just
Yep.
arms folded and watching the game. If I just want to watch a game, I'll stay home and check it out on TV. The view is always going to be better that way.
Have you found that with the fame, your job is getting harder? Do you have more competition to catch the balls? And is there anybody that's even close to you as far as the amount of baseballs caught?
Things are definitely getting tougher. It's a lot more crowded and a lot more competitive now. And I think I am to blame. A lot of my friends who've been doing this for a while directly blame me. They're like, yep, this is all your fault. Like, you look out and there's a zillion people going for baseballs now. I mean, it's sure it makes it tougher for me to catch baseballs, but the ultimate goal for me is not pure accumulation of baseballs. I actually give away most of the baseballs now anyway. If I catch one and then hand it off to someone, I still count it in my collection. But really, I'm focused more on the videos now, and I just want to help people. I want to entertain people and I want to educate people. I want to help people connect to the game, show them how they can catch baseballs, get autographs, get close to the players, the best places to sit, the best places to wander in the stadiums. Sometimes I'll film some stuff outside the stadium, capturing the neighborhood vibe, showing people the best food. So, I've gotten a lot of really nice messages and emails from people over the years just telling me that my videos help them get into baseball, fathers and sons, and some mothers and daughters too, that told me that they've basically been able to connect more because of my videos, which motivated them to go out on road trips or trying to hit up all the stadiums, and they never knew it could be this much fun. So like, that's really what I love. And if I miss a few baseballs because of that, I mean, that's fine. I accept that. I chose this life for myself. I made my bed. Now I'm going to sleep in it.
See, that's what's impressive to me because you just talked about the most important thing is giving back. And it seems like all your videos, all your fans are coming up. Everyone's happy. The kids love you. Everyone loves you. But then you go out on the internet and it seems like, oh, there's a lot of haters. I know You said after you caught Alex Rodriguez's 3,000th hit, you got a lot of hate because of that. Why do you think that is?
I made the mistake of tweeting something mean about A-Rod the day before, or maybe the day of his 3,000th hit. And then I got that ball, which was insane and very lucky. And the eyes of the world were suddenly on me. And I remember talking to my girlfriend at the time about an hour after I got the ball. And A-Rod hit it in the first inning. So, I mean, the game was still very much going on and things were blowing up. And the first thing, she was the first person that I talked to, actually, after, being whisked away by stadium security and they were trying to negotiate for the ball and all this stuff. And the first thing she said was, "So about that tweet that you posted earlier." And I was like, I dropped a
Oh
lot of
no.
F-bombs,
Oh,
when I was on the phone with her. I won't repeat them on your show because I assume this might be a family show, but yeah, somehow that tweet, I mean, in a story about A-Rod, who cheated and lied about cheating and was suing everybody and was just like the worst guy who was worth $500 million, somehow I became the bad guy. It was so weird. Everybody was pissed off at me. I mean, at least everybody at Yankee Stadium. Fans of the other 29 teams thought it was great that I was like sticking it to A-Rod, but it didn't help my cause that I put that negativity out there in the world, and then it blew up when I suddenly and unexpectedly got all this attention. So that really got things off to a negative start. And then I made the mistake of tweeting that I was going to keep the ball, which again, it's like, well, I paid for the ticket. It's my ball. I can do what I want with it. But there's this weird expectation that fans will give these very valuable baseballs to the multi-zillionaire players that hit them. And that's not fair. Ultimately, I did give the baseball to A-Rod. I thought about it for a bit, and the president of the Yankees helped make me decide what to do because he offered to have the Yankees donate to my favorite children's baseball charity, Pitch In for Baseball and Softball, which I'd been working with for years prior to that. I put it out there publicly. I'm keeping the ball. And then the Yankees were doing this research like crap. How are we going to get the ball from him? So they found out about the charity and they were like, if we offer to donate to the charity, maybe that'll convince him. And it did. And I was glad to do it. But there's still people, and this is now 6 years later, who will leave the occasional nasty comment like, "Why don't you give A-Rod his ball back?" And I just basically send them a link to the press conference when I handed A-Rod the ball. There are people who know that I gave it to him but are still pissed off. They accuse me of holding on to the ball for ransom, holding the ball hostage, keeping the ball longer to make myself more famous because I was getting a lot of attention while I had the ball, but it wasn't for that reason that I held it. I was legit just trying to figure out what to do with this item that could be worth $500,000. Like,
right.
sorry for taking a few days to think it over.
Hmm.
So, it's like if you don't give the player the ball, then you're a greedy jerk. And if you do give it to him, there are people that think that you're a chump and you should have held out for money. So it's
Yep.
in a weird way, it's like a lose-lose situation. And there were times after I got that ball where things were so messy. Like I even heard from some friends that I was getting death threats on Twitter
Oh my
that
goodness.
I even questioned whether it was worth it. Like if I had it to do over again and that ball was sitting on the ground, I didn't catch it on the fly. I picked it up off the ground. I actually thought like maybe I just wouldn't even pick it up. I could avoid all this mess. But I'm looking back now with some time behind me. I'm so glad it worked out the way it did. It changed my life. I mean, I'm a YouTuber now kind of because of that, because I got so much attention suddenly and unexpectedly. And I had done a few videos around that time, not intending to turn it into a career, but they started getting so many views that I had a friend tell me that I should monetize my channel. And I was like, huh? And then she showed me how to do it. And I was just able to basically piggyback on all that notoriety, which was not all positive at the time, but it's become much more positive since then. And like, that's kind of why I'm a YouTuber now, because of that baseball. It's so weird how things work out.
Yeah, it's awesome. It sounds like what should have been the happiest time of your career kind of turned into one of the worst times of your career in a sense. But it sounds like it all worked out, and I'm happy it worked out for you. Is that about the time you got to go on Conan O'Brien and Jay Leno show?
No. And just, just to put a bookend on this A-Rod story, this charity that I had been working with, they got $150,000 from the Yankees for that
Oh
baseball.
wow!
So massive windfall for them. And they're a smallish organization. It's not like Make-A-Wish that has a
Ah,
multi-million dollar budget. Like it's a small organization. So it really helped them out. And they've been able to help a lot of kids out there play baseball as a result of getting that money from the Yankees. So that all worked out great. Um, Conan and Jay Leno, no, that was actually Jay Leno was 2008 because I had caught home runs on back-to-back days during the final week at the old Yankee Stadium. And after each of those home runs, I did a really stupid like cabbage patch butter churn dance. And the second time I did it, the announcers recognized me, and it became such a huge story. Like in the days before TikTok, like now everybody's dancing all over the place, and you can go find 10,000 people dancing like idiots on the internet. But in 2008, people weren't doing that so much. So here's this weirdo in the right center field bleachers catching home runs and dancing. So like the story made it onto CNN International, like man catches home runs back to back. Like I had friends in Europe that were like, I just saw your dumbass on TV. What's this all about? And then a week and a half after that, I caught the last home run that the Mets ever hit at Shea Stadium on the very final game ever at Shea. And it took the media, as I recall, a day or two to piece it together. Like, wait, the guy who just caught that ball is the same guy who was dancing who caught the other balls. So there was a lot of media. And one day I woke up to an email from NBC Universal, and it was a producer asking me if I wanted to be on the Tonight Show with Jay Leno. So that was 2008. And then the following year, I was on the Tonight Show with Conan when he became the host. Major League Baseball actually set that up. I was working closely with them on some stuff, and they had a baseball segment to fill on TV. And they basically pitched me as one of their potential ideas to the Conan people, and they were like, let's do it. As it turned out, Conan was such a dickhead. That's one of the worst interviews I've ever done. I didn't handle myself that well. I wasn't as media savvy then, so I definitely could have conducted myself better and deflected all the insults and sarcasm and really negativity coming my way. But it was tough. I was probably overwhelmed in the moment, and I've hung up on radio hosts who were not even as rude as Conan was
Oh
on the
man.
Tonight Show. So I wish him all the very worst in life. And his Tonight Show tanked, I think, after a season, and I was glad to help make it fail. So, Conan, if you're watching this, go screw yourself.
Well, I'm hoping you don't hang up on this show. I want to make sure that there's no negativity here, but
Nothing
it
but good
sounds like
vibes from Preston, everybody.
good, awesome. Well, another thing, I wanted to switch gears a little bit because
Yeah,
there's so
sure.
much more to Zack Hample than baseball. He's got a gigantic rubber band ball. His apartment is covered in, is it magazine covers?
Yeah, pages from magazines completely wallpapered.
Um,
Yeah,
y-
the rubber band ball weighs 345 pounds, and it's sitting about 10 feet away from me right now. And yeah, I live in somewhat of a fun house. It's definitely different, um, but it's fun and it makes me happy.
and I also read that you were a competitive Scrabble player.
That's right. I was more into Scrabble for a few years than I was into baseball
Oh, wow.
in college. Yeah, that was, I when I got my thousandth career baseball in 1996. That was right before I headed off to college, and that was always my goal to get 1,000 balls. And I thought I was kind of done after that. I even picked a college, Guilford College in Greensboro, North Carolina, that was like 5 hours from the nearest major league team. That would have been Atlanta, because I wanted to get away from the baseball world and do other stuff and enjoy being a college kid. So I started a Scrabble club in college. I'd already been massively into it for a few years prior to that. And, I mean, I was spending an hour a day memorizing four-letter words, and I was really into it. I interned for the National Scrabble Association at three different national championship events. And that was my number one hobby. I was obsessed and thinking, I'm going to be the best in the world at Scrabble someday, but I realized it was just going to take too much time, and I was like in college and I just didn't want to spend all my time memorizing words, so that kind of faded out. But yeah, that was a massive thing in my life, was playing Scrabble for years.
Did you ever get into Words with Friends when that came out?
No, I wholeheartedly reject online Scrabble or any form of it because
Okay.
people would either cheat or they would accuse me of cheating when I busted out some crazy eight-letter words. The whole point of memorizing words is then stuff that other people don't, and it gives you an advantage. And if people are just playing at home and they're secretly looking through their dictionary or using apps that, anagram letters, then what's the purpose of that? Um, and I don't know. I didn't like it. I was just never into Scrabble that much that I wanted to play online. Like, it's all about the in-person connection, and it's like, I don't know. So no words with friends for me. Sorry, not happening.
All right. Well, actually, that's the reason I quit, is because of that emulator thing or whatever they called it came out, where people could just get the most valuable word entered in there for them, and then that ruined it for me. Like you said, what's the point if that's all you're doing?
I hear you, man.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, before I let you go, I don't want to go over our time period here, but before I let you go, I always have a little lightning round with my guests to
Oh yeah,
hopefully
baby. Bring it on.
learn a little bit more about. Let's see here. What is something that people do not know about Zack Hample? Now, a little reference here. If you go to Zack's website, you can find out basically everything about him. It's one of the most detailed websites I've ever come across, down to charting every baseball that he's caught. Has a huge question and answer section. So what would the one thing be that we don't know about Zack?
Wow. I mean, I've put so much of my life online. Um, I guess people don't know, even though I've talked about it in this interview, people mostly don't realize how much I enjoy being away from baseball. They assume that I'm depressed when the season ends, um, that I just don't know what to do with myself. But that's really when I come alive, is when there's no baseball, because I can focus on everything else that gets completely buried during the season.
Nice. What is the number one thing you like to focus on when you're outside of the season?
People,
People.
definitely. That's I can't call it a hobby, but it's a passion. Like, it's all about people for me. I have a tremendous circle of friends, and since this most recent World Series ended, I've been catching up with a bunch of people that I haven't seen since before the pandemic. And I had like no friends for about a decade of my life, maybe ages 7 to 17. Couldn't get along with other kids, and it's not just that I didn't have friends, but I was actively disliked by most people at every school, every camp I went to. I just found a way to piss everybody off. I was obnoxious and kids were cruel. And so there's still the 13-year-old in me that just really just wanted to hang out but didn't have anybody to hang out with. And now it's like, I still have room for improvement as a human being, but I've gotten myself together. And yeah, I definitely get along with people. I think I have better people skills even than baseball skills.
Awesome. That's a great answer. I really like that.
Thank you.
What is the coolest Easter egg that you have found at any MLB stadium?
Oh, now Easter egg, you mean like a baseball sitting in the seats? Because that's kind of like the slang for ball hawks when you run in and find a ball.
Yep, not so much
Or
like that, just more like secrets to stadiums that the common fan like myself who goes to Target Field, and that's basically the only stadium I get to. Um, Like, what's something cool that a stadium has that most people might not know about?
Well, at Target Field, you can go and basically stand right next to the organist playing live organ music during games. It's I forget if it's up in the upper deck, but it's elevated quite a bit, and I think probably a lot of people don't know that. But I'm all about the nooks and crannies and the walkways and stuff behind the scenes. Um, I actually in a video I showed like a secret doorway at Fenway, which I had probably seen 100 times and never thought about it, but it's like at the back of the center field seats, there's a doorway in the back wall, and anybody can go right through that door, and it leads to a staircase that goes up on top of the Green Monster. Now, if you go up there during the game, they're going to check your ticket, but if you're in there early enough, you can go up there for BP. So yeah, there's just stadiums are huge and every one of them is different and there's just so many weird spots. So I love discovering things like that.
All right. Would you ever consider switching leagues, like maybe collecting footballs in the NFL?
If footballs were as plentiful as baseballs, it would be more enticing, but that's tough. I mean, the thing about baseball that's so fun is that as a fan, you can also be a participant. And
Right.
don't be fooled by people who say, "Oh, the odds of catching a foul ball are 1 in 50,000." It's like, no, it's not. They hit a lot of foul balls, and 2/3 of the people in the stadium cannot catch one just simply by sitting too far away or underneath a net or being in the bathroom or being online for food. So the odds are pretty good, not necessarily to catch a game home run or a game foul ball, but there's a lot of baseballs to be caught, batting practice, whatever. So I think I got to stick with that. I mean, I like averaging 5 baseballs a game rather than I think averaging 1 football every 5 years if I were to go for that. I'm
Right.
sure there are probably ways to work that angle as well, but yeah, no, I'm just a
Well,
baseball guy. I don't care about any sport other than baseball, not even a little bit. If Tom Brady is in the Super Bowl or LeBron is in the finals, I will watch. Other than that, I don't care.
I'm sure if there was anyone that was able to figure out a way to get more than one football every 5 years, you'd be the guy.
If someone gave me enough money and made the challenge, like you will get $1 million for every football you snag, I'd probably have to develop a science behind that. But
Yep.
as things stand, I'm good with being just a one sport guy and then getting away from sports for like 5 months a year.
All right. What is the best movie recommendation from the past year? If you've had time to watch any movies, that is.
Oh God, I'm not even sure if I've seen any new movies in the last year. Um, Yeah, I mean, I just got done watching Squid Game, which
Okay.
blew my mind, but I'm not a huge TV guy. And I when I watch movies, there's so much that I've missed that I just end up going back and catching up on things that are new to me, but maybe they've been out for 10 years. So my movie tastes are juvenile. I have the taste of like a 14-year-old boy that just wants to see a lot of explosions and stuff like that. So I can
Well,
give great, recommendations for other things, but movies not so much.
I haven't seen too many movies this year either, but you should check out the new James Bond movie. It was phenomenal. Could be one of my favorites,
Oh,
and I'm a big James Bond fan, so I have to say, highly recommended.
what's that movie called?
Is it No Time to Die? Something
Oh,
like
that's
that.
I think yeah. When I was little, the only action movies that I was allowed to watch were James Bond. For whatever reason, my parents deemed those appropriate. And just watching all the old ones going back to I mean, I don't know if was it like Doctor No, was it Doctor No or
Yep.
Doctor
Yep.
Yeah, was that and Goldfinger and For
Goldfinger,
Your Eyes Only and
the
like
man
I
with the
remember
golden
watching
gun.
yeah, I mean, yes, yes, Odd Jobs and
Yep.
yeah, I mean I watched all those early Bond movies and loved it. So I am going to watch the new Bond movie because you recommended it. I'm weird with movies though. I watch them like in 40-minute increments while I work out at
Okay.
home. So a
Well,
2-hour movie, it's gonna be like a Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Like I'll stretch it out over a week.
hey, let me know
And
what you think because I'm biased. I'm a big James Bond fan, but I think this could be my favorite one ever made. So,
wow,
yep, I know. I had a hard time saying it as well. So, you'll have to let me know what you think because I'm a
I am
huge fan of
going
the
to
old
watch it.
ones.
Cool. All right, I'm sold.
All right, what is your favorite camera? What camera brand would you go with if you were to pick one line?
I'd go with Canon. Um, in a way, my favorite camera, even though it's not the best camera, is the one that comes with my iPhone because the iPhone goes everywhere, and I always have a camera. I mean, imagine if that could have been true when I was at sleepaway camp when I was 15 or at college, you know. I think it's probably good that there weren't cameras everywhere when I was that age because I'm sure I'd be getting canceled for something right now, or there'd just be horrendously embarrassing things on the internet. But yeah, I love having a camera at all times. My videographer uses a Canon 80D,
Okay,
and I'm not a camera expert, despite making my living talking into a camera. Yeah, I'm just not a huge tech guy, not a huge camera guy. But if I were gonna buy one and learn to use it on my own, I think that's probably what I'd go with.
awesome. All right. This is an odd one, but I always ask. I usually ask this one most
The weirder, the
on.
better. Bring it on.
Yep, that's right. All right. If you were stranded on an island and you were able to choose two items to bring with you, what would those two items be?
Oh, um, I mean, can a person be an item? I'd bring a female companion, and I'd bring
Okay.
an iPhone with a solar charger. Yeah, I don't know. I guess yeah. I think an
Sounds like a good
iPhone,
choice.
and a female companion.
All right.
Not
And
to objectify women too much and call them items or objects, but if we can take
I'll
liberties
say
here.
I'll say you could bring a person and an item. There you go.
Or maybe I'd just bring two people. I don't
Two
know.
people. Yeah,
But
maybe
yeah,
two people. Yep. That
yeah.
sounds good. All right. This one's odd because it's what is your dream job? Most people think you have the dream job. I want to know if you think the same thing. And if this isn't your dream job, what would you be doing?
Um, I think being an actor would be more of a dream job for me. If I could be a well-known successful actor. I don't want to be toiling in an off Broadway production somewhere. No disrespect to the theater world, but that's not my jam. But if I could be a well-known person on TV or ideally movies, I think that would be my choice. I love having an audience. I love people, and I would be interacting with people nonstop. Um, So I think, yeah, it would almost be like doing what I do, but not so focused on baseball and having an even bigger reach. That's what I
Ha-
would go with.
Have you ever had any opportunities for acting in the past?
Oh, just like little random one-off things in a friend's like independent whatever, but like no, nothing that would even probably be on IMDb. I mean,
Okay.
I've been on TV a zillion times over the years. um, which is it's always fun. It would be great if I were a regular on a show or had my own show. And for a while, I was trying to do that before YouTube, and now I almost feel like I don't need it because my YouTube is big enough that that satisfies my creative itch. I love storytelling and having an audience and connecting with people. So I get to do that on YouTube. So in a way, that is the dream. I just wish it weren't actually so baseball heavy. I feel like I've put myself in this corner of very niche baseball nerdy stuff, which I love, but there's so much more out there that I love. So I'm always thinking of ways to maybe branch out. Um, but yeah, being like a Hollywood actor, I think would be the number one dream job for me. But I never tried to do that.
Awesome. Well, how about, have you started any separate side YouTube channels that have
No,
nothing to do with baseball?
people have told me, oh, make a separate channel for all your non-baseball stuff. But it just seems like a lot of work to have to manage a whole separate channel. And I mean, the name of my channel is not Foul Ball Guy or Professional Baseball Nerd.
Right.
It's Zack Hample. And the person Zack Hample does random stuff. And sometimes that random stuff finds its way onto YouTube. It's just tough because doing a video on something else will take just as much time, but it'll get like a tenth of the views.
Right.
And I feel like anyone who subscribes to me is doing it because of baseball. So I don't want to stray too far from that for too long, because then I feel like I would actually lose people. But traveling the world and vlogging about it, and doing a lot of stuff with food and maybe a lot of stuff with music, and like, I'm not a true like crazy adrenaline junkie. I'm not going to do parkour on Paris rooftops or anything like that. But, I would love to bungee jump off the world's tallest bridge, make a video. I mean, I went skydiving once. There's a video. I mean, I didn't even edit that one. The skydiving place put it out. But I would love to do more like travel, adventure, food, maybe setting world records type of stuff. And I could do it, and maybe I will do it. But I just go so hard with baseball during the season, and I get burned out. And then in the off season, I just want to do nothing. So the idea of like doing a whole separate winter series of crazy stuff, I don't know, especially if I'm editing all of it. If I maybe if I hire like a whole production company and they film and edit and I don't have to think about it. But then again, is it going to start costing me thousands of dollars to produce each video? Then it stops being profitable. So these are the issues. I'm trying to have a life, but trying to be a YouTuber, and it's hard to do both. That's my biggest struggle, finding the right work-life balance.
All right. Yeah, that's interesting, because a lot of creators I have on this show, I feel they run into the same situation where they've got a specific topic that they're talking about, and they've got so many other interests. And I find that that's one of the problems with myself too. I like podcasting. I like scuba diving. I love baseball. I've got all these interests, but YouTube seems to reward staying in your, subject.
In your lane.
Yeah, in your lane. Yep. So that would be cool if at some point, YouTube made a feature like, here's a parent channel, here's a subset of all their different interests. If they could do that, that'd be wonderful. All right.
Yeah, I mean, I did an ASMR video once, and that's probably going to end up getting 1 million views. Now, it was like a sort of baseball spoof ASMR, but
okay,
I did a rubber band ball video that has a few 100,000 views. But again, it's like
very cool.
The stuff that really gets people fired up on my channel is the baseball stuff. So still trying to figure out how to navigate all that.
Very cool. All right, yeah, 3 more questions. Have you ever been to North Dakota?
No, but hopefully someday.
Right. Yep. It is a gorgeous state, and I think you'd love it, and you'd be surprised if you came here sometime.
I really would love to. I think since there's no baseball, it would just have to be kind of like a straight up vacation. And I don't like traveling alone. I'd rather be locked in a dank closet with the person I love than getting an all expenses paid trip around the world. I'm all about who I'm with rather than where I am or what I'm doing. So when I have someone in my life that wants to go to North Dakota, I'll go to North Dakota, and I will even vlog it for YouTube.
Awesome. That sounds good. And if you're in the area, give me a call, because I'd like to hang out sometime.
There we go.
All right. Minnesota Vikings or Green Bay Packers? This is important.
Neither.
Oh, okay. Well,
that's
better.
Option?
That's, you know what? That is an option, and it's better than saying Packers. So I'll give you that.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's kind of a wimpy answer, but the truth is, I always strive for the truth, Preston, all right? And the truth is, I truly don't care about either of those teams.
Well, that's a good answer. All right. Final question. What editing software do you prefer editing your videos on?
Here's where things get really embarrassing. I use iMovie. Yay.
Really? Not even
Yeah,
Final
I
Cut?
know. I know. I mean, I have people tell me that it's so basic and like it's harder to edit on iMovie because it's so basic, but that's what I learned. It came with my laptop. I'm self-taught with editing. I learned by watching YouTube tutorials. And I had someone who was editing for me a few years ago who gave me a few pointers about how to blend the audio and how to sort of like there were some other things that he told me to look for, but yeah, I'm self-taught, iMovie, I can do what I need to do. Using a fancier program would be cool. There's two problems with that. The lesser one is that I'd have to learn a whole new program, which I can do. Like I could just take a day or a week or a month, in the off season when nothing's going on and just learn it. I'm not dumb. But the bigger thing is that I believe these programs, you can't just buy them outright and own them. It's like subscription based. So they just milk you dry over time. And I try not to sign up for too many things like that.
The good thing about Final Cut Pro, that's why I switched to them, is they are a one-time purchase.
Really?
Adobe is the subscription base. So that's the reason I switched to Final Cut, is because one-time payment, I hate the subscription plan thing too. So that's something you should look into if that's one of the reasons you're not getting it, because it is nice to have. There's quite a bit of other features and stability improvements with Final Cut Pro. So something to look into in the future.
I do need to buy a new laptop this off season. So maybe I'll upgrade my editing program. No promises, but you've planted a seed. That and James Bond, you're giving me some homework assignments.
There
Okay,
we
I
go.
appreciate it.
Yep. I
Yep.
like it. Well, you'll have to give us an update in the future. I want to thank you for being on my show. Is there anything else you want to talk about, promote? Where can my listeners get a hold of you? Anything like that?
Thank you for asking. As long as people know how to spell my name, I am very easy to find. So Zack is Z-A-C-K. Don't give me any of that Zatch nonsense. And then Hample is H-A-M-P-L-E. And people can try this as an experiment. I believe that if you search for Zack Baseball on Google, but spell it Z-A-C-K, I think I'm the first one that pops up. At least I was at some point. So Zach Greinke can suck it if this is still true because I'm ahead of him.
That's
But
awesome.
yeah, I'm on Twitter, Insta, TikTok. Haven't been too active there. YouTube, of course. I have a Facebook page that I again don't do that much with. Um, and yeah, I guess I would just like to say, if people look me up without knowing me, they very well may find a lot of negative stuff about me. I hope this interview has proven me to not be the worst person in the world. I actually keep things extremely positive at games. I have never knocked down children. I give away lots of balls. I help raise money for charity. I'm all about good vibes and keeping the peace. And anybody who sees me in person and pays even 1/10 of 1% attention to what I'm all about will know that. But if you're just finding me on the internet and or you're a troll, then there are lots of false negative things out there. So just trying to spread the good vibes, and I want to end on that positive note. So, thanks to everybody for watching, and thank you, Preston, for having me on. This was great.
This has been a joy for me. I'm a big fan. It's been a lot of fun to talk to you through email, get to know you a little better. It's been awesome having you on the show. Maybe sometime down the road when you hit 20,000 baseballs or something like that, maybe we can have you on the show again. That's a good thing that I thought of there. What's your next goal? Like, obviously 15,000 is probably the next milestone, but are you planning to get to 20,000 or are you planning to just quit at some point?
I mean, I almost hope I don't get to 20,000 because if I get 20,000 balls, that means that I'm probably not doing that much else with my life. I mean, if the YouTube thing stays big and successful and continues to grow, then sure, I'll stay with it. I guess as far as catching baseballs, I really want to get to 100 game home run balls caught. And right now I'm at 81. I got 10 this year. I didn't expect to get that many. That was, double digits in a season is very hard to do. So I don't expect to do that with 2 more seasons, but averaging 1 a month, if I'm going to, 80 to 100 games a year, I could do it in the next 3 to 5 years, depending on how good my luck is. So 100 lifetime game home runs, that's the goal. It's going to happen. It's just a matter of when.
Awesome. Well, when you hit that milestone, feel free to come on my show again. We can talk about it.
I will. We will talk about it for sure.
That sounds great. Thank you, Zack, for being on the show. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Be sure to check out the show notes, see all the links to find out where you can contact or look up all of the wonderful content from Zack. And we will see you guys next week.
Wow.